There is a moment in every life when you suddenly feel it, that chilling realization that you're alive, yet not truly living your life. A silent fear whispers, "Is this how people waste their entire life without noticing?" You chase routines, numbness, expectations, yet the meaning of life keeps slipping through your fingers. Buddhism warns, the greatest tragedy is not death, but the unlived life. Your doorway to calm, clarity, and rare Buddhism wisdom. And watch till the very end. A hidden bonus lesson awaits, one that may finally return you to the joy of life you've forgotten. 1. Stop living the life you were trained to obey. The words may feel gentle, but they carry the weight of every moment you ever shrank yourself to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. Pause for a breath and ask yourself, if the world taught you who to be before you learned to breathe, then how do you ever meet the person you truly are? Because the truth is simple, yet uncomfortable. Most people do not live. They perform. They wear faces carved by expectations, stitched by fear, held together by the approval of others. As one teaching reminds us, you cannot awaken while wearing someone else's face. Imagine a bird raised inside a painted sky. It believes it is flying, yet it has never touched the wind. Many of us live exactly like that bird. We assume the world we were handed is the world we are meant to stay in. We confuse obedience with purpose, routine with destiny, survival with living. And so the suffering begins, not because life is unkind, but because we are absent from our own existence. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself removing one mask you've worn for years, maybe the mask of being the strong one, or the achiever, or the one who never disappoints. Feel the cool air press against your real skin. That sensation is what freedom tastes like. That is the moment your soul whispers, "There you are." Buddhist wisdom teaches that the deepest suffering comes not from the world, but from the false self we cling to. When we operate from these identities, we live on autopilot, reacting, not choosing, chasing, not creating, existing, not awakening. And yet, life keeps offering gentle reminders. Every frustration, every emptiness, every quiet ache is an invitation to return to yourself. Look at your life through this question. Whose approval still decides your path? Which identity no longer belongs to you? What part of you is asking, begging to finally be seen? These answers reveal the quiet prison you've outgrown. But here is the turning point, the spiritual truth most people never consider. You were never meant to fit into the world you inherited. You were meant to outgrow it. The mask was only the beginning of your journey, not the end. When you stop performing the life you were trained to obey, something extraordinary happens. You start living the life your soul has been waiting to breathe into. And remember this moral line, most people don't die once, they die slowly. Every day they refuse to truly live. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I return to myself." 2. Escape the prison of comparison before it steals your soul. Comparison is the quiet thief of inner peace, slipping into your mind when you are tired, uncertain, or longing for direction. And yet, we rarely question it. We scroll through lives that look brighter than ours, forgetting that shadows can be edited too. But pause for a moment and consider this. What if the life you envy is the exact trap someone else is desperately trying to escape? Buddhist wisdom teaches that suffering begins the moment we abandon our own path and crave another comparison blinds you to the miracle of your own path. These are not just poetic words. They are a reminder that no two journeys are meant to look the same, just as no two hearts awaken at the same hour. Imagine two candles standing side by side, one tall, one short. From the outside, they seem different, but the flame, the flame is the same. Your flame is no less sacred because someone else burns brighter, faster, or higher. The universe did not make you to be measured against another person. It made you to embody the truth only you can carry. Take a breath and visualize your inner flame, steady, unwavering, completely untouched by the lights that surround it. That flame is your purpose. That flame is your timing. That flame is your soul asking to be honored. When you compare, you don't just doubt yourself. You abandon the flame that was entrusted to you. Look gently inward and ask yourself, where do you shrink because someone else shines? What desire in you was born, not from truth, but from comparison? What dream have you ignored because it did not look successful enough on the outside? These questions reveal the invisible chains that keep you trapped in someone else's life. Here is a spiritual truth. Few people realize comparison does not steal your joy, it steals your identity. It convinces you to chase applause instead of authenticity, to follow footsteps that were never shaped for your journey, to build a life that feels impressive but empty. But when you stop observing your life through the eyes of others, something extraordinary begins. Your mind becomes quieter, your choices become clearer, your heart begins to guide you, not the world. And suddenly, your path, once ordinary, begins to feel sacred. Remember this, you are not here to compete, you are here to awaken. And the moment you escape the prison of comparison, you reclaim the freedom to truly live. 3. Let go of the emotional debts you never agreed to carry. So much of what weighs on your heart was never meant to be yours, yet you carry it, quietly, obediently, as if your soul somehow agreed to hold every wound, every expectation, every unspoken responsibility placed upon you. Pause for a breath and ask yourself, how much of your suffering isn't even yours, but borrowed from voices you can't remember? There is a gentle Buddhist truth that whispers through the mind when we finally stop running. Not everything heavy belongs to you. Let those words settle, because for years you may have been holding sadness that wasn't born in your heart, fears that didn't originate in your spirit, and guilt that never belonged to your path. Think of your heart as a bowl, beautiful, open, full of potential. But instead of carrying only the water meant for you, it has been filled with the rain of others, their expectations, their disappointments, their unspoken demands, their unresolved pain over time. The bowl becomes heavy, yet none of the weight is truly yours. Take a slow breath and visualize this. You stand beside a quiet river. With each exhale, you place one burden into the flowing water. The burden of being the person everyone relies on. The burden of pretending you're fine. The burden of guilt that was never yours to carry. Watch the current take each weight away farther and farther until the surface returns to stillness. This is what emotional freedom feels like, not escape, but release. Turn inward now and reflect gently. Who are you still emotionally paying, even though the debt was never yours? What weight would you drop if no one judged you for letting it go? What new strength could grow within you if space finally returned to your heart? These questions are not meant to expose your pain. They are meant to free you from it. Here is the spiritual turning point. Carrying emotional debts does not make you compassionate. It makes you absent from your own life. You cannot heal the world by breaking yourself. You cannot honor your path while drowning in the storms of others. The moment you release what was never yours, your true self rises, lighter, clearer, more alive. And remember this moral line: your soul was never meant to be a storage room for the pain of others. It was meant to be the garden where your own peace grows. 4. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Life won't wait with you. So much of life slips through our fingers simply because we keep waiting. Waiting for clarity, waiting for certainty, waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. Sit with this question for a breath. If tomorrow never comes, how much of your unlived life will die with it? We whisper to ourselves that we're preparing, that we're planning, that someday we'll begin. And yet, the quiet truth is that fear often disguises itself as readiness. Buddhist wisdom reminds us the right moment is the one you choose. Life does not pause for our hesitation. It keeps moving gently but relentlessly. Those who awaken are not the ones with perfect timing. They are the ones who decide to step forward even when their hearts tremble. Imagine a seed lying beneath the soil. It waits for the perfect season, the perfect temperature, the perfect rain. But seasons change, storms come, and the soil grows cold. A seed that waits too long does not bloom. It rots. Many of us are living like that seed, promising ourselves that one day we will begin, unaware that waiting too long is its own kind of death. Now visualize this. You stand on a foggy road. You cannot see the finish line, the path, or even the next few meters. But the moment you take a step, the next patch of earth reveals itself, and with every movement, the road slowly unfolds. Life works this way. You see only when you move, not before. Turn your attention inward and reflect gently. What dream have you postponed into oblivion? What fear have you named preparation? Where could you begin, even imperfectly, even quietly, even small? These answers reveal the places where your soul is starving for motion. Here is the deeper spiritual truth. Perfection is not a doorway. It is a cage. If you wait to feel ready, you will spend your life standing still. Fear will always find another excuse, another delay, another reason why tomorrow is better than today. But awakening is never a moment. It is a decision to stop waiting and to start living. As you step into your path, uncertain, imperfect, trembling even, the universe begins to respond. Opportunities appear, strength returns, guidance arrives, not because the conditions were perfect, but because you finally moved. And carry this moral line with you. Life will not wait for your courage, so let your courage rise now before the moment passes forever. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I return to myself." 5. Break the habit of overthinking your own existence. Overthinking is the subtle trap that feels like protection, but quietly becomes a prism. You tell yourself you're analyzing, preparing, staying safe, yet inside, something tightens, something trembles, and suddenly the mind, once your guide, becomes the very force pulling you away from peace. Sit with this question. When did thinking stop helping you and start trapping you? There is an old truth whispered in Buddhist teachings. A restless mind can find storms even in a silent sky. You've felt this. The day is calm, nothing is wrong, yet your mind begins its spirals. What if? Should I? Did I? Will it? Thoughts multiplying like shadows at dusk, each one leading nowhere except deeper into doubt. Picture a still pond. Now imagine your own hand reaching into it, stirring the water again and again. The ripples never end, because you never stop moving. This is what overthinking does. It creates chaos, where life offered clarity, noise, where there was once stillness. The water was never the problem was the habit. Take a quiet breath and visualize a single thought drifting past you like a soft cloud. You do not chase it. You do not fight it. You simply let it pass. This is the first seed of freedom, not control, but release. Not forcing silence, but allowing space. The mind calms, not because you tighten your grip, but because you finally loosen it. Look gently inward and reflect. Which thought pattern steals your peace most often? How much of your suffering is imagination, not reality? What would silence inside your mind feel like, even for a moment? These questions aren't meant to shame you. They are meant to open the door you forgot you could walk through. Here is the turning point, the deeper spiritual truth. Your mind was meant to be a tool, not a tyrant. When thoughts become louder than your awareness, life begins to feel heavier than it truly is. You start solving problems that don't exist, fearing futures that won't happen, reliving pasts that cannot return. This is the exhausting cycle you were never meant to carry. But when you break the habit of stirring the pond, when you let the thoughts drift instead of grabbing them, something miraculous happens. The water clears, the sky quiets, and for the first time in a long time, you can finally hear your own soul. Carry this moral line with you. A mind at peace sees life as it is, without storms, without shadows, without fear. 6. Release the identity that keeps you small. So often, the greatest barrier on your path is not the world around you, but the identity you've been taught to cling to. Sit with this question. What if the person you believe you are is the biggest obstacle to who you could become? We protect our identities as if they are sacred, forgetting that even the most beautiful shrine can turn into a prison when we never step outside it. As the teaching goes, identity can be a shrine or a cage. Your mind recites the same story every day: who you are, what you're capable of, what you're allowed to desire. But these stories were shaped long before you learned to question them. You might not notice the walls because they were built so slowly, so silently, that you mistook them for your natural shape. Imagine a snake trying to rise higher while clinging to its old skin. No matter how hard it tries, the heavy layers restrict its movement. Eventually, it faces only two choices: shed or suffocate. Your spirit works in the same way. The identity that once protected you can become the very thing that limits your expansion. Close your eyes and visualize the layers of old identity peeling away. The one who always plays small, the one who must stay agreeable, the one who keeps quiet, the one who hides their deepest gifts. As each layer falls, you feel something lighter emerging, something closer to who you were meant to be, before the world told you who to become. This is not destruction, it is rebirth. Now turn your attention inward and reflect softly. What identity are you still protecting out of fear? Which label feels too tight, too small, too outdated for the person you are becoming? Who are you beneath the old shell, the version of you that's been waiting patiently for space to breathe? These answers reveal the boundaries your old self created. Here is the spiritual turning point that many overlook. Your identity is not your truth. It is your past, and the past is only meant to be a teacher, not a home. When you cling to who you were, you sacrifice who you could be. But when you release the old story, life begins to expand in directions you never imagined. You don't need to reinvent yourself. You only need to unclasp the identity that is too small for your soul. And as you step forward as your truest self, remember this moral line: you cannot rise while holding on to the version of you that was only built to survive. Let it fall away so you can finally live. 7. Detach from expectations before they turn into chains. So much of your suffering comes not from what life gives you, but from what you expected it to give. Sit with this for a quiet breath. How much of your pain comes from life not matching the script you never actually wrote? We cling to imagined timelines, perfect outcomes, and flawless versions of ourselves, forgetting that reality breathes, bends, and moves in ways we cannot predict. Buddhist wisdom offers a simple reminder: expectation is the father of disappointment. Not because expectations are evil, but because they trap the mind in a future that may never arrive. And when the present does not match the fantasy, We feel betrayed by life, by others, by ourselves. Picture a rope tied tightly around your wrist. Every time you pull, hoping life will obey your plan, the rope burns deeper. The struggle is not in the rope, it is in your grip. The moment you loosen your hold, the pain begins to fade. The rope did not enslave you, your attachment did. Now visualize a warm, golden light surrounding you. With each exhale, see every expectation of how you should be, how others should act, how life should unfold. Begin dissolving into that light. What remains is not emptiness, but spaciousness, a freedom the mind has long forgotten. Gently reflect. Whose expectations are choking your freedom? Which outcome are you gripping so tightly that it leaves no room for possibility? What would your life look and feel like if trust, not fear, guided your steps? These questions are not meant to judge you, they are meant to release you. Here lies a deeper spiritual truth. Expectations are chains disguised as certainty. They promise security, but deliver suffering. They convince you that you must control everything, or nothing will be okay. But control is an illusion, and the tighter you cling, the more fragile you feel. When you detach, you don't lose ambition, you gain clarity, you don't stop caring, you stop forcing, you don't become passive, you become open. And in that openness, life can finally move again. It can surprise you, support you, and guide you in ways your expectations never allowed. With the loosening of each chain, you return to yourself. You rediscover calm, you remember your strength, and you awaken to the truth that peace isn't found in perfect outcomes. It's found in releasing the demand for them. Carry this with you. Life becomes lighter the moment you stop insisting it must look a certain way. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I return to myself." 8. Stop being loyal to your suffering. So many people say they want peace, yet keep walking back into the same familiar pain, as if suffering is a place they owe loyalty to. Let this question settle gently within you. Why do we return to the same pain, even when we say we want peace? It's not weakness, it's fear. Fear of stepping into a freedom we have never met. Fear of losing the identity that suffering has stitched into us. Because as one deep teaching reminds us, a familiar suffering feels safer than an unknown freedom. Imagine A, who has lived in a small cell for so long that the silence, the walls, even the shadows have become predictable. One day the door opens, yet instead of running toward the open field, they hesitate. The world outside feels too vast, too uncertain. The prison, though painful, feels known. Many of us live exactly this way, returning to old wounds simply because they are familiar. Visualize yourself standing in that same cell. The door behind you is open. The air outside is warm, spacious, inviting. All you have to do is take one step forward. But your mind whispers, "What if freedom hurts more than the pain I already understand?" This is the battle that keeps countless hearts trapped, not the suffering itself, but the fear of who they might become without it. Now breathe slowly and reflect. Which pain in your life feels too familiar to release? What emotion are you afraid to feel? Joy, peace, trust, self-worth. What freedom scares you enough to keep you standing still? These reflections reveal the invisible threads tying you to your old identity. Here is the quiet Buddhist truth. Suffering becomes a habit when we believe it defines us. We cling to heartbreak because healing feels uncertain. We repeat old stories because silence feels too empty. We stay in cycles that drain us because we do not yet trust the life waiting beyond them. But the moment you recognize that suffering is not loyalty, it is limitation, you begin to awaken. You do not heal by revisiting old wounds. You heal by no longer offering them a seat at your table. You heal the moment you choose curiosity over fear, presence over memory, freedom over familiarity. And when you take that first step out of the cell, the world opens in ways you never imagined. Carry this truth with you. You don't owe your suffering anything, but you owe your future everything. 9. Understand the difference between living and merely existing. If your days repeat, but nothing inside you grows, are you truly alive? Pause with this question for a breath. It gently exposes the difference between motion and meaning, between breathing and awakening. Too many people spend years moving through routines, responsibilities, and habits without ever touching the pulse of their own soul. Remember this truth. Existence is the body's duty. Living is the soul's choice. Imagine a tree that grows taller each year, but never blooms. It stands, it survives, it exists, yet it never reveals the beauty it was born to express. Many of us live this way. We get older, we get busier, we get more tangled in obligations, but we do not bloom. We forget that growth is not proof of life. Aliveness is. Close your eyes for a moment and picture one memory from your life glowing brighter than the rest. A moment when you felt undeniably alive, free, present, awake, unburdened. Ask yourself gently, what made that moment different? What part of you was alive in that breath? What truth were you living then that you have abandoned now? That glowing moment is not random. It is a message about your soul's true conditions for aliveness. Buddhist wisdom teaches that life becomes suffering when we disconnect from our inner truth, when we wander through days without awareness, without intention, without presence. Existing means repeating yesterday. Living means choosing today. And every day the universe quietly asks you, are you awake yet? Look inward now and reflect honestly. Where are you only existing? Which parts of your life feel like repetition, not creation? What activities drain you, dull you, or numb you? And what moments, even small ones, make you feel unmistakably alive? These answers reveal where your soul is sleeping. Here is the spiritual turning point. Most people think they must change their entire life to start living. But life begins in a single choice, a single moment of presence, a single step toward what feels true, a single breath taken consciously. Living is not dramatic, it is deliberate. It is choosing authenticity over autopilot, connection over distraction, depth over noise. Imagine now that today is the day you choose to bloom, not perfectly, not fully, but intentionally. Even one conscious act, one honest conversation, one brave decision, one moment of stillness can awaken the part of you that has waited for years to return. Carry this moral line with you. Existing keeps you alive, but only living brings you back to yourself. 10. Let go of the life you were told to want. So many people spend their whole lives chasing dreams that never belong to them, wearing identities handed down by family, society, or old versions of themselves. And yet, deep inside, there is a quiet unrest, a dissatisfaction that refuses to disappear. Sit with this question for a moment. What if your deepest dissatisfaction is simply your soul rejecting a borrowed dream? There is a simple but powerful truth. A path not yours will always feel heavy. You can push yourself, discipline yourself, and force yourself to walk it, but weight is weight. No amount of motivation can turn someone else's dream into your destiny. Imagine wearing shoes 2 sizes too small. Every step hurts, every movement feels unnatural, yet you keep walking because they were given to you. That is what life becomes when you cling to a path chosen for you, tight, painful, suffocating. And strangely, we call this normal, we call this responsibility. But Buddhism teaches that suffering often begins when we betray our own nature. Close your eyes and visualize placing those old shoes aside. Feel the relief, the freedom, the space returning to your feet. Now imagine stepping barefoot onto new ground, soft, uncharted, welcoming. This is what it feels like to choose your own life, not the life you were trained to desire. Gently turn inward and ask yourself, which dream isn't truly yours? What desire feels forced, artificial, or inherited? What path keeps calling you quietly, stubbornly, no matter how much you try to silence it? These reflections are the compass that points you back home. Here is the deeper spiritual shift. Letting go of the life you were told to want is not rebellion, it is awakening. It is the moment you stop performing and begin existing as your true self. It is when external expectations lose their grip and the whisper of your inner truth grows louder than the noise of the world. Your soul already knows where it wants to go. It has always known, but it cannot move while carrying dreams that don't fit your spirit. When you release them, you don't lose direction, you find it. You don't become lost, you become real and carry this moral line with you. Life becomes light the moment you choose the path that was waiting for you, not the one the world handed you. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you're not sure what to say, just type, "I return to myself." 11. Create a life you don't need escape from. A life that exhausts you is not a life you are meant to keep living. Sit with this question gently. If rest is your only joy, is the life you live truly yours? So many people spend their days enduring, pushing, pretending, surviving, only to collapse into moments of escape that feel like borrowed peace. But Buddhist wisdom whispers a deeper truth. Peace is not escape, it is alignment. Real peace doesn't come from running away from life. It comes from creating a life that no longer hurts to live. Picture a river flowing through a valley. It moves effortlessly, not because the path is easy, but because it follows its nature. When the river resists nothing, its journey becomes smooth, steady, and alive. Your life is meant to flow the same way, not as a constant battle, but as an expression of who you truly are beneath fear, expectation, and exhaustion. Take a moment and visualize your day flowing like water. From morning to night, imagine each movement free of tension, every task aligned with your values, every decision made from clarity instead of pressure. See yourself breathing without rush, moving without forcing, existing without needing to run. That is not fantasy, it is a direction, one your soul has been quietly asking you to turn toward. Reflect gently on your life now. What part of your daily routine drains you the most? Which responsibilities feel forced, heavy, or misaligned? What would your life look like if alignment, not escape, became the goal? These questions are not meant to condemn your current path, they are meant to illuminate a new one. Here is the deeper spiritual shift. When you live a life built on survival, escape becomes the only relief. But when you build a life shaped by truth, presence, and purpose, rest becomes nourishment, not recovery. Joy becomes natural, not rare. Peace becomes your home, not your hiding place. Sometimes creating a life you don't need to escape from requires saying no to the expectations that drain you and yes to the small, honest choices that bring you back to yourself. It might mean slowing down. It might mean changing direction. It might mean disappointing others so you can finally stop disappointing your soul. But once you begin aligning, truly aligning, life stops feeling like something you must endure. It begins to feel like something you get to participate in fully, consciously, and wholeheartedly. Carry this truth with you. Your life is not meant to be a cage you rest from. It is meant to be the river where your spirit flows freely, without apology, without resistance. Bonus lesson. Return to yourself before the world forgets you. When was the last time you paused long enough to truly feel yourself, to notice where you've dimmed, where you've disappeared, where you've been living on empty without even realizing it. Sit with this open question. What if the most tragic loss is not time, but losing yourself inside it? So many people wander through life building identities, chasing roles, fulfilling obligations, all while slowly drifting from the one person they were meant to stay closest to, themselves. There is a quiet teaching that says the journey outward ends when the journey inward begins. It reminds us that peace is never found in the world's noise. It appears only when you finally turn back toward your own heart. Yet too often, you give your life away piece by piece, your energy to demands, your compassion to others' wounds, your time to endless duties, and your silence to fears you never name. Without noticing, your inner lantern dims, not because it broke, but because no one ever refilled the oil. Imagine, just for a moment, lighting a lantern inside your chest. See the flame warming your ribs. See the glow reaching the corners of your mind that have long stayed in darkness. This is not a fantasy. This is the beginning of returning to yourself. This is the moment your inner voice whispers, "I'm still here." Gently ask yourself, where have you abandoned yourself the most? Which part of you is asking to come home? What will you reclaim today before the world takes your attention again? These questions are not meant to judge, but to awaken the forgotten places within. Because here is the deeper truth. The world cannot forget you until you forget yourself first. You are the keeper of your presence, your peace, your aliveness. When you drift too far outward into comparison, expectation, and noise, your soul fades into the background of your own life. But the moment you turn inward even a little, your spirit rises again, soft but undeniable. Picture your days flowing differently, not rushed, not scattered, but aligned, rooted in who you are, not who the world expects you to be. This is how you create a life where you no longer chase meaning, you live it. Carry this reminder with you. Return to yourself before the world forgets who you truly are. Because the greatest awakening is remembering the person you were before life asked you to be someone else. Quick summary of the principles. Stop living the life you were trained to obey. Most people follow a script written by society, family, and fear without realizing it. You rarely ask who you truly are beneath these layers. Buddhism teaches that the false appears first. Living begins when you remove identities that were placed on you. Escape the prison of comparison. Before it drains your spirit, comparison slowly disconnects you from your true path. It makes you chase lives that are not meant for you. When you compare, you forget your own gifts. Your attention scatters and your purpose fades. Release emotional debts you never agreed to carry. Many of your burdens come from others, expectations, guilt, silent roles. They weigh you down even though they were never truly yours. Holding others' emotions creates inner confusion and tiredness. Freedom begins when you return what doesn't belong to your heart. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Life won't wait with you. Perfection is delay disguised as preparation. Many people postpone their whole life, waiting for the right moment. Each day you wait, your courage weakens. Action, not timing, opens the path. Break the habit of overthinking your own existence. The mind becomes painful when it circles without purpose. Overthinking drains energy meant for growth and clarity. You suffer more from imagined fears than from reality. Peace comes when you let thoughts pass without clinging to them. Release the identity that keeps you small. You hold on to identities that once protected you, but now limit you. These labels influence your choices more than truth does. Growth requires letting go of outdated versions of yourself. Becoming new begins with releasing who you no longer are. Detach from expectations before they turn into chains. Expectations create disappointment and emotional pressure. You suffer not because life is unfair, but because it doesn't match your script. Letting go brings freedom, clarity, and calm. Detachment creates space for life to unfold naturally. Stop being loyal to your suffering. People often stay attached to familiar pain because it feels familiar. You repeat old emotional patterns even when they hurt you. Real change requires letting go of suffering that became part of your identity. Freedom begins when you choose discomfort over repetition. Know the difference between living and just existing. Existing is automatic. Living requires intention. If your days repeat without inner growth, you are not truly alive. Life becomes meaningful when you act from presence, purpose, and awareness. The quality of your life is shaped by your level of consciousness. Let go of the life you were told to want. Many of your goals are inherited desires, not your own. Chasing them leads to emptiness and quiet disappointment. Your real path appears only when you stop following outside scripts. Authenticity begins when you reject dreams that are not yours. Create a life you don't need to escape from. Peace is not found in escape, but in alignment. Your life should lift you, not drain you. Build routines that support who you want to become. When your actions reflect your truth, peace comes naturally. Return to yourself before the world forgets you. You lose yourself when you prioritize noise over inner clarity. Life feels empty when you ignore your own needs. Returning to yourself restores direction, purpose, and peace. Your true path begins when you turn inward again. There comes a moment in every life when silence speaks louder than fear, and truth can no longer be ignored. If you felt even a small spark of recognition while hearing these lessons, it means your deeper self is ready to awaken. There is a life meant for you, unlived, unclaimed, waiting beneath noise and expectations. You don't need to rush. You don't need perfection. You only need to return to yourself. When the inner lantern is lit, even the darkest path becomes visible. This is the start of that light, so take a breath, look within, and make a gentle promise. You will no longer delay your own existence. You will no longer trade your truth for comfort or approval. You will no longer live half a life when a full one is calling your name. Today, the journey back to yourself begins. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. If these words touched your heart, remind viewers to like and share this video. Share your thoughts in the comments for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful life.